Hi everyone and welcome to tonight's show. We're going to begin a new series in which we explore the myths and legends of American Indians. You see, for thousands and thousands of years, there were incredible battles, journeys, and remarkable adventures that now have been lost and are unknown. Except that they can be known. All you have to do is ask. It's like Peter Pan said to Wendy, "Take my hand. Come fly with me." The year was 1673, and a Frenchman named Jacques Marquette was floating down the dark forests of the Mississippi River when he and his traveling companion caught sight of something terrifying. On the approaching cliff, from a great distance, they saw a giant mural painted on the limestone, as tall as a 5-story building. It was a mighty Firebird with hellish red wings, horns like an elk, and the claws of a dragon. "Mon Dieu," said Marquette's manservant. "What is that painting, my lord?" "I don't think it is a painting. Something is warning us not to go any further." The two explorers made the wise decision to turn back, because this spot marked the site of a legendary war that took place. For centuries, the Illinois Indians had been fighting a never-ending battle against zombies who would rise up from hell. One day on the battlefield, the enemy forces brought a new secret weapon with them. The Piasa, which translated means the bird who destroys men. This bird was the size of a dragon, and it had formed an alliance with the army of the underworld. It would pick up huge tree trunks from the forest and throw them through the air like a harpoon. Chief Awatoga, who usually stood proud in battle, had no choice but to fall back with his men, again and again, to retreat and save their lives, as they were no match for this new ultimate weapon. The Piasa was the new king of the area. It would fly and soar over the forest unimpeded, and the Illinois people lived in dread. The war was going badly for the Indians. They kept losing territory week by week, and could only fortify themselves with guards posted around their campground. One day, the chief's daughter, Princess Yawa, walked down to the river to pick berries and put them in a basket. But what she didn't know was that the Piasa bird was sitting in a tree, watching her. You see, the mighty bird was powerful and fearless, but it was also lonely. It would sit alone in the forest at night and cry, because it had never known love, or even anyone to talk to. It spied on the camp from a distance, and would see the chief's favorite warrior, Mishigamia, playing with the princess and laughing with her. The bird felt jealousy swelling up inside him. Terrible jealousy. And he made a plan to kidnap Princess Yawa. That night, the bird went into the bushes near the camp and started a fire. The men of the tribe ran with canisters of water to put the blaze out. And while they were doing that, the giant bird snuck into the wigwam and cornered the princess. He lifted up his gigantic talons and was about to grab her, when suddenly, Mishigamia, the warrior, swung in on a tree vine and jumped in between them. He started swinging his tomahawk back and forth. But he was no match for the mighty bird. It smacked him. He went flying 30 feet through the air. Well, that's when the Piasa noticed that the wigwam had caught on fire, and the flames were growing closer. And so he flew away into the night sky. After the Indians finally got the fire put out, the chief said he needed to think for a while. And so he climbed up into a tall tree and stayed there for many hours. And when he came down, he called Mishigamia to stand before him. He said that a chief cannot ask more of other families than he asks of his own. If the giant Firebird wanted Princess Yawa bad enough to risk such a daring raid, then he shall have her. Yawatoga and Mishigamia walked into the royal teepee, and at daybreak, Mishigamia walked out carrying the princess wrapped in a blanket. He got into a canoe and floated down the river to the limestone bluffs. Then he got out and carried the princess to the mouth of the Piasa's cave. "Mighty creature," he yelled, "you demandeth, and so I bringeth." Then he backed away and returned to the canoe. The Firebird emerged from the cave and trotted out and stood before the princess, who was trembling silently beneath the blanket. The bird reached out with his giant talons and pulled away the blanket. But it wasn't Princess Yawa. It was her father, the chief. And he was holding a bowl of magic dust, and he threw it in the Firebird's face. The bird flew up into the air in complete shock at the surprise maneuver. But what he didn't know was a platoon of Indian braves was hiding over the edge of the limestone cliff. They rose up with their bows and arrows and shot volley after volley of flaming missiles at him. He dived and swooped to avoid them. He did a barrel roll at top speed across the river. That's when Mishigamia stood up in his canoe with a slingshot. He armed it with a small bag of magic dust, which magic monsters are allergic to. He targeted the mighty bird, soaring down at top speed. And he fired! The bag exploded in a shower of sparkles and glitter. And the Piasa bird plunged into the Mississippi River, never to be seen again. Plop! The Indians ran onto the beach and danced in a circle. And that weekend they had a powwow that lasted 2 days and 2 nights, in which Mishigamia and Princess Yawa got married. And all the Indians cheered. And they voted Mishigamia to be the next chief of the tribe. After they rebuilt their camp, the Indians went back to the limestone cliff and painted a giant 50-foot mural to mark the site of the great battle. It stood for many centuries, until the Illini were eventually chased away by new settlers. In 1877, an industrial company used dynamite to blow up the mural. And it was lost and forgotten for many decades. Until the city of Alton, Illinois decided to restore the Piasa mural. And it's now a public park shared by everyone. And every day, buses of school children will go on tours and hear the story of the Piasa bird. Because the Piasa wasn't really dead. You see, the river carried him far, far away, many miles downstream. And when he woke up, he crawled onto a beach. He lay down on the warm sand and slept there till he was all dried out. In the months that followed, the lonely bird flew in the sky, further and further west every day, till one day he was gliding over Puget Sound and saw an Indian man crying. He flew down and said, "Hello, how can I help you?" "My family is cold and have nothing to eat." "Well, there's plenty of fish in the water." "Yes, but the problem is we have no fire." "That's not a problem. You can hit 2 rocks together or rub 2 sticks together." "Yes, we tried that, but it doesn't work. You see, it's been raining for weeks. Everything is cold and wet. Nothing will catch fire. We can't cook any food." Well, let me see what I can do." And the Piasa flew up into the air and soared for many, many miles until he saw a forest fire. He flew down and grabbed a burning log and carried it all the way back to the man and his family. "Here you go. Build a fire pit around this log. And keep drying out sticks one at a time to add to the fire, and that's how you can keep it going." "Thank you," said the family. "We won't forget you." The children waved at the bird as he swirled through the embers in the night sky. It made a decoration. The family laughed and cheered. They learned that day how to keep a fire going. And the Piasa bird learned that if you want to have a friend, you've got to be a friend. The Piasa flew over the Pacific Ocean. He visited Japan and the Orient, and even went so far as Persia, where his many adventures would be told thereafter. And to this day, the people of Puget Sound have paintings and totem poles to remember their friend, the Firebird. I see some of you in the live feed are typing that you are very scared by Firebirds. The good news is you don't have to worry, because mainstream science has confirmed that these monsters never existed. So it's just a fake story that was made up. Well, I think I speak for all of us when I say, ah. Well, I'll see all of you again soon. In fact, I'll meet you. Second star to the right. And straight on till morning. See you soon.